Well, Cancer, to say that this is a defining moment in your life, not this specific moment, but this last few weeks, would be an understatement, to say the least. We've had that very intense opposition from Mars to Saturn here on the nodal axis. So these are important karmic forces that I discussed last month for you, but that continues now with an even bigger celestial event on July 2nd, 3rd, this total solar eclipse. And look at this, it's happening smack bang in the sun sign you were born under the sign of Cancer. So here's the thing, if you are born around the latter part of June, this is going to be a significant impact on your life. This solar eclipse, the total solar eclipse here, is part of this new moon cycle. And I've talked a lot about how the new moons have much to say about shifting gear, a new chapter opening up to what I call the signs of human possibilities. And when these eclipses take place, even partial eclipses, although this is a total solar eclipse, they always occur here on these nodes. The nodes have to do with your karma, the reason you are born. This awakens you to your potential right now, what it is you're here to do. Venus moves into this position as well. This has a lot to do with self-love. Notice here, Mars and Mercury and the moon here around the 5th in your second house of finance. Second house also has to do with speech, about talking out, speaking up about what it is you want in life. Mercury here goes into retrogression around the middle of the month here, and it'll come back into this, here it is here around the 7th. You'll notice it's gone stationary. So up until that point, if you've got decisions to make, financial issues that you're dealing with, no problem. But here around the here it is around the 9th, it goes retrograde, and you're best to hold off if you haven't made a firm decision at that time over any financial matter. But getting back to this point, it is a very, very significant and defining period, I think, for most of you born under the sign of Cancer, having this total solar eclipse here. You've also got big responsibilities in your relationship now. You can't shirk those responsibilities. The Sun opposite Saturn in the days leading up to the 13th, and easing up of that. This could be also worse by the opposition of Venus after the 15th to Saturn, showing a really cool, aloof approach to your significant relationships. So this requires communication, not going to be too... Look at the intensity of all of these lines here, my God. That is what we call a classic seesaw shape. Maybe you're conflicted. I think so. And if you're conflicted, the Saturn-Venus combination pulls you back, throws you back into your shell, and we know you're a crustacean by nature. So when you're not feeling good, you often just climb inside yourself. You may have to do that, even though earlier in the month you were wanting to articulate what it is you had to say. Here we see that Mercury going retrograde means you're second guessing, having a double think, double take on all of these matters. I'm not going to revamp what I've said many times in the last year or so about Saturn here in this 7th house, making it difficult for you to clearly understand the way forward in your relationships. That is a matter for a more personal, detailed reading. If you want to take me up on that, I'm more than happy to discuss that. But these karmic forces are very hard to escape. All of these planets here take so long to move around. Usually I take a look here at the faster moving planets, such as the moon here moving in your 10th house. Now that's going to have a significant connection with Mars here, which rules your career. It's in the finance sector here all through this latter part of July. Good influences here, upswing in your income, perhaps Sun moving into the second house there as well. And then some possibility of a breakthrough as the moon moves into your 11th house here. And it could be sudden or abrupt. We've seen this before. The combined influence of the moon and Uranus here, the making of sudden friends, sudden shifts in the opinions or the actions of people you thought were more reliable. Be careful of that at that time. As I said earlier, you've still got the underlying influence of retrograde Mercury here. And that's always difficult because somehow you just can't quite get it together. What people are saying doesn't gel. Your schedules may be out of whack. So just take everything with a grain of salt, especially here as you come to the very last part of the month here. With Venus in your second house, that's probably a lot better. Mercury on the 31st, I think, moves into a stationary position, which means August, and we'll get to that next month, will be a far clearer period for you mentally and in terms of your negotiations. Here you can see the opposition also at that last aspect of the month. It's a passing aspect, but it's a more deliberate style of thinking. That's the Saturn-Mercury combination. Here, the close proximity to the Rahu or the North Node and towards where the eclipse was shows us that you're going to have some radical thinking. I think I'd say this is a really exciting period in your life. You should see it as an uplifting, opportune moment to really do something stellar. Till next month, I'd like to see you here again, but don't forget to pop into astrology.com.au where we have a whole lot more on what's happening this month and for the rest of the year for that matter. Look forward to your company in August. Bye-bye.